Hey, welcome to a new streaming series. I hope I continue this one. So, in the last one that I had over a month ago, I was working on a project that I was rewriting, basically creating a time tracker using OCaml. I had some progress there on the stream. We set up the OCaml development environment and I showed some stuff I built. But I paused that one because I realized the language and the concepts are very new to me. I needed to spend more time with it. So I changed the gear, and instead of creating something that I'm not going to use, which was a habit tracker, in that regard, I use Emacs and I have org agent. I wanted to have something that I can use daily. And on the other hand, recently I was working on my setup and I changed a lot of things, which I'm going to share in future. But I ended up with having some small scripts that I use daily. And one of these scripts, which I recently developed, was to sync my new password storm setup to uh, Bitwarden, to a Vaultwarden instance. Long story short, I have now a local password store which I need to I want to sync with password store with Vaultwarden. I wanted that because it has a better integration on iOS, and unfortunately, I'm on iOS for mobile. And but I don't like the Bitwarden setup on desktop. It's quite laggy. It's whenever I need it, it needs to connect to network to download something. So I developed a script in Python, and I already have it working actually. Let me see. Go here, system setting, and for example, parser.py. So I have this basically Python script that does what I need. But while I was developing this, I was also in the middle of setting up my Emacs, and my language server for some reason wasn't working. And when I made it working, there were a lot of other error inside the script I had, which I usually don't like. Of course, this was a script, right? You might argue why someone needs to have type checking on a script and stuff like that. For me, this is something that I would like to develop and forget about its existence, and it just works when I need it, right? So I made a rule for myself: if uh, if there is anything beyond I don't know, a 2-3 lines bash script, I'm not going to use Python for it anymore. There were other options as well which are more suited for scripting, like Go recently is used a lot by the community. But as I stated in the previous video, there are some things that I would prefer to have a different approach toward, especially the error handling part. And so I decided to try OCaml. This is an idea which might prove me being wrong about it, but for now I'm going to spend some time with it. So again, the same approach as before. I developed a new version of the dojo tutorials that I do. In the previous version, I had this problem that it was trying to build the programs from bottom up, which is not something I usually do when I create something. Basically, what I do is start from entry point and always have something to run, right, and reiterate and add features towards it. So I changed that stuff, and now I have a few scripts that I'm going to scripts and programs that I'm going to hopefully work on and maybe also share on this channel. So the story of today: password, Vaultwarden sync, rebuilding a Python tool in OCaml. The first part was about a simple end-to-end status where you could invoke a command and basically get the details of the login. I'm going to run this. I'm not sure if it's still working because I've developed it already. I'm going to give a tour on the source code today, and then walking the store, basically listing all of the items in the store and reporting this beautiful line down here. This was interesting feature using functional programming. And then I think this is where I am going to start today. Yes, this is where JSON parsing comes to picture, and basically the first stop that we are going to use a library. I've used YoJSON as part of the previous project I was working on, but that's the thing about libraries in OCaml. All of them have their specific syntax, which takes some time to get used to. So I think I'm going to be a beginner again. But YoJSON, I think it was quite easy to adapt because it's using this preprocessor syntax, and I didn't need to do much. Just some new concepts that I needed to learn of basically what that preprocessor is going to generate and how I can use it. So a tour of the program. So this is the list command. Basically what it does, I have this pass list. So I have this password store right now. There are two secrets in it, secret 1 and secret 2, and an invalid subdirectory for it. I created this to make sure it's going to fail. So I have some errors in parsing and my program is not crashing. And as you see, first it finds those two directories and tries to open it, and it fails, and then it prints details about my secrets, secret 1 and secret 2, and it is printing this summary down here. And let's see if that command also works. I'm not sure if I remember the argument for it, main.ml. So I have something called like parse, and then can I do secret 1? Okay, this is not doing the behavior I like. I want to have the full secret. We are going to fix it together. But before that, let's have a tour of what's going on here. This is the main function of my program. All right, this is whenever we invoke the program, this is going to be executed. And basically right now what I'm doing here is to match system argv, skipping the first parameter, which is the program's name, and then take the second argument and do something. Or here, take the second and third and consider this one as a dynamic value, and again, invoke something, right? Easy. This is the most stupid CLI parsing, but it's effective. And then I have, let's start with this parse pass, because even though it's broken, it's doing something interesting. It's basically invoking this other function from my library, which we are going to cover, parse entry, and making a pass out of what I passed it, basically secret one. I'm the initial version that I worked on this script so far, I was using strings all over the place. So when I did this phase 1, there was no notion of deciding about what your functions should do, right? So I took the simplest approach, and what I did was I was getting the string names and then doing the processing. However, I wanted to have some features like automatically discovering the password store's location on the system. For that, I wanted to read the environment variable and interact with the CLI of the system. And then for that, I needed a library, and I'm using boss library. Let me see if I have it here. Boss, no. OCaml boss. And this boss library is using another library with the same developer, which interacts with the passes, which is fpass. This is a very mature library. I think both of them are quite mature. I liked working with them, but documentation, I needed to get used to it. Oh man, why you are not? Yeah, make it dark. So this is both. Also, fpass is related to this. You can find them in the software section of this guy's website. Fpass, yes. So I had basically two different types of interfaces. Some of them on the entry point we were using a string, some of them we were using pass, and it made my code quite complex. So I refactored everything to use one of them, and it was actually very helpful. But in use cases like this, it might be a little bit confusing. But I'm going to show you why it's going to be helpful when I'm going to review the library. And then I have a list. Basically what I'm doing here is finding all entries. It's discovering where my password store is, listing all of the items inside the password store, and then if it fails, it's printing an error. If not, it's going to get the length of total. This is only used for this message down here, this number 4. And then I have this pipeline where I'm filtering the first 5 items. I'm on my original, the actual password store, I have like 800 something secrets. So I didn't want to wait for all of them. Each decryption takes between 5 to 15 seconds. So it's going to be quite time consuming to run this command. And list is not very useful command, I would say. I'm using it because it's teaching me some stuff in development process, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it in the final version of the application. And then I am doing a fold left. I'm not sure how familiar you are with functional programming. This was I knew what fold does, but for me it was interesting. There are different kind of list processing methods that you can use. One of them is basically iterating over a list, and you can do this in any programming language, I would say. The iteration is basically you take the items of the list one by one and you do something with them, right? And then in the functional realm, you also have map, which is basically you take a list as input, you do some stuff, and you generate a new list out of it, right? And then there are folds. Folds are basically the iteration where you also create a new state. It can be anything. It can be a list or any other stuff that you need. In this case, I wanted to basically have the number of errors, basically failed to parse values. And basically what I'm doing is I am calling this process entry on every item out of this filtered list. Do my processing, either print an error or print the row that I want to print, and then return a value. And that value is an integer, which if it's an error, I'm going to increase the previous value that I take in, the accumulated value that I took, or just return the value if there was no error. Yeah, that's it. And then eventually I'm just printfing the analysis that I had. And there is an extra, here I'm just creating this string itself, and then here I'm printing it because I wanted to have them in pipeline. Then let's go to lib and SML. So what do I have here? The first thing is I'm opening BOSS, the library for CLI interaction, and then I'm creating a new syntax for myself, result.bind. What it does, I told you about the fpass library that I'm using. Let me see if I have it somewhere. Yes. So here you see any function that interacts with fpass in my interface is returning the fpass result itself. And fpass result is this type. It's a result of fpass or an error message. So if it succeeds, it returns fpass. If not, it's going to return an error message. And basically what it means is that I need to pattern match them. I need to support both cases in any interaction that I have with this library. And every time, basically, I need to have a match clause like this, where I either match an error of MSG or, okay, let's see if I have it here, error. I don't have it, but we can write it, right? Let's see, we have, let's test function. I need to match all entries with, and here I either would have error of MSG, print, actually PR, error, MSG, or okay, entries, and do something here, right? So this is the whole logic. You need to pattern match the output. Either it's error or it's a value. You pattern match it and you get what you want, right? But soon when you do this and your interface also needs pattern matching, it would get difficult to have a clear syntax. You will end up having many nested pattern matches, or you need to create many functions to make it easier to read, less indentation and stuff like that. So to prevent that, OCaml has this result.bind method, which is basically a helper to bind the result function. What it does is basically the same as match, with one difference. If you chain a few of them together, the first one that fails will exit. If not, it will continue to the next one. And that's the behavior I want, right? I can use this result bind as a function directly inside my calls, or do a pipeline on it, right? I can do, for example, actually, let's do it like this. Maybe keep this one as a comment because I want to show you what's happening. I can do all entries and then do a result.bind. And what happens here again is it's going to fail if error happens. If not, it can do a list.map something, right? Or I can call it as a function as well. This is just OCaml, normal OCaml, but I can also make this syntax for it, which basically allows me to use it like this, like a normal let binding, with one difference, that if this function and result is returning an error, you just eject, right? And it's basically the same pattern matching, but makes it simpler to write. Yeah, that's about the letter star. And then I have my pass entry type, which yeah, basically are a number of fields. Many of them are optional. I had a pass here as well, but then I realized probably I don't need it, even though the tutorial is suggesting it, and I have it in the Python version, but I don't think it was necessary. And it was kind of redundant to me as well, because I had the password stores pass already discovered in the application, and all the functions that rely on it are able to pick that. Then why bother to store it as part of a state? Then I have this function, which is basically taking a pass entry and printing a line, and that line is what you see here, right? There was a challenge. Some of these values are optional, and you cannot just directly pass them to a string formatter like this. So you can use this method, option value with a default or something. It's a little bit of a verbose syntax, but it's explicit. So that's what I have at the moment. Then the first interesting function, store pass. What I wanted to do was to first check this environment variable. If it exists, consider that as the password store. If user wants to basically change this password store pass for some reason, they can just invoke my command with different environment variable value, and I respect that. When there is a match, I can get the environment variable, because this get env opt is going to return an option. I pattern match on it, and return that as a fpass value. If not, I'm going to use both and get users directory, and then create this pass, which is home dot users home dot pass for the store. This is basically the default, right? And then I have all entries, which is basically going over listing all the entries in that directory, and what it does using the binding we had earlier is getting the store pass, because the return value is a result. It's either okay, in this case it's always okay, right? But this one could fail and return error, so we are using a letter star here and get the store pass. If it fails, it will abort. If not, it's going to continue and invoke this fold contents function, which is basically a fold left function on the content of the directory. I am passing a store to it as the pass, and then I take that pass for any items inside the store. I am removing the store prefix, so the for example here it would be home Shaheen password store, right? This part I want to remove and only keep this secret one, right? I'm using option get, which is basically the output of this rem prefix would be an option, just like this one is either something or not, right? But I'm getting it because I am sure there is always something in it. There's basically no case that it's going to return nothing. All of my passes have this prefix, right? I'm getting the eventual value, and then I'm removing the extension. As you saw, all of the files have this .gpg that I'm going to remove. And then I am extending my accumulator with the value, right? That's that. The return value is a list of item names like secret 1, secret 2, and so on. This enables me to have the same pattern when I'm going to invoke a single function as well. Then decrypt. Well, I think it's self-explanatory. We give it an entry name. It's going to again take the store pass, create the GPG pass for that entry. So the full pass, like this one, right? It's going to create it, and then create a command and run it. And the command is also printed here nicely. It's a very good consequence of having some failures. This is basically what we are going to create, right? GPG, some flags, the pass, and it's going to run and decrypt, right? There is something new I learned here. So all of these functions, basically this / add extension and toString, are part of the fpass library, but I have not opened fpass. So every time I need to call, for example, fpass / to be able to get this function, infix function invoked. The other convenience syntax trigger the OCaml provides is this: you basically fpass dot and then parentheses, and basically what it does, it will provide this fpass inside this parentheses, so any function you call there have this feature. What I'm doing here is basically getting the store pass, basically appending the passes together using entry name. So far I have, for example, home, Shaheen, password store, and then let's say secret 1 is passed as entry name here. It will create this, and then I add an extension, GPG, and then I still have fpass here. So I call toString on it and create a string out of it, so I can use it inside my function call. And then there is this both syntax. Nothing much interesting here except for it works out of the box. Basically, like any other programming language, you concatenate the arguments in a weird way, and then the pass. And here we are invoking the command. There are a few other alternatives. I think you can get the std in, std out, and stuff like that. But in this case, I am just getting the std out of the command and then turn the result into a string. Right, I want to read text. Right, the content of the password store. So, for example, if I do pass show secret 1, it will show me this, right? This would be the content of this function, the result of this function. What else? Get key value. This is basically for these lines inside the content. What I'm doing is basically splitting it into key values, right? Unfortunately, OCaml doesn't have this functionality to split only on one item. It has some split function, but it will split every occurrence of character. That wasn't useful. So what I do is I use index opt and then colon. I am pattern matching it on none as well, because I'm not sure how familiar you are with passwords structure. It's a little bit weird, and I think it's more of a convention than a standard program is enforcing on you. But basically the first line is always a password, and then you have this syntax of key values. And then after that, so there is no guarantee that you have all of these, right? Even when you do pass insert, it will only create the password. The rest of it is what you can edit the file manually and add. And then at the end of these key values, you have a preform text, right? So I'm not sure ever where this freeform text starts or even exists. So this get key value helps me to indicate if it's a key value or it's something that I need to treat as text. Right. What I'm doing here, I'm getting the line lengths via start vn. Basically, I have the index. I am calculating where the value actually is starting and ending. So I can use this sub and probably I should add a trim somewhere here as well. Making sure string trim. Yes, like this. Go here. Okay, this is weird. The indentation, I am using this no camel mode. The indentation somehow plays weird with me these days. I need to figure out why, but you get the idea. Then a split name folder. So Pass has this feature that you can basically put many passwords inside folders, like this folder that I created here, even though it doesn't have any passwords. But basically it's trying to mimic, utilize the file system structure of Unix inside the password manager itself, password manager directory itself, which is quite useful for organization, right? But I needed to have basically know what is the name of the entry, right? For example, script 1, and what is the pass for it, right, inside the vault. So I could replicate it inside Bitwarden as well. There wouldn't be any issue. So if, for example, there is different passes with different directories with similar password, I won't mess them up. And this is the first place actually using fpass as entry point proved to be more useful than having a string everywhere. So here the entry name itself, the secret one, is also an fpass. So if somebody asks, for example, b directory syncer Google my secret, right, it will be arrived as a fpass object. And fpass type, no object. And then I am splitting the base, basically the entry's name, and then folder name when folder is equal to this, right? Then return folder being none. So actually I think I can show this to you. Doom utop lib. So I can do fpass split base, right? And then fpass.v, call it test, right? When you need to import printer, install printer, yes, now it's better. So here you see when I ask it to basically I'm passing this value test as the input to the function, and what I'm getting is data slash, which is considered to be base. I don't want this data slash value, I want to have none. That's why I'm basically setting up a guard here. If my folder is equal to this, then return none. If not, basically I'm going to receive a folder as a string and then name as a string. So I can now even test my function. I think it's pass vw sync dot pass dot split name folder, and here the fast v test, and I'm getting a none and a test. And if I do, for example, d1 d2, I get some d1 d2 test. Yes, and you saw that I am able to have a REPL. This is very nice for script development. I wish, for example, something like Go could also provide this for a compiled language. But my tutorial was initially putting everything inside the bin directory manuscript to reduce the complexity. And I think it's going to, oh, I close my session. Can I open it again? Let's see. Where are you? Yes, this one. Nice. So yeah, it's basically phase. Yeah, in the phase 7, it's going to introduce this concept of a library that you can import, and it includes interfaces and such. But I figured out in the middle of development that it's way better to already start developing as much logic as I have inside this pass basically lib here, so I can load it inside utop and test it manually without developing any test. Things that go inside bin directory all are basically the CLI logic, and yeah, these I can test via CLI itself. So that's that. Now to pass entry. What pass entry does is basically taking the content, the text content that we extracted. Actually, let me show you. Let's see. It's taking decrypt, right? If I do pass decrypt, if pass secret 1, okay, it's going to get this content, right, this text content, and parse it into this type. So I have everything as fields and I have them accessible. And how we are doing this is basically doing this filter folder named split that we talked earlier, and then get the content itself, and then split on char on a new line, split it, right? And if we are getting an empty list, it means there is nothing inside the file, and we are returning an error message in the format of the fpass errors, or we are getting an array which at least the first item exists. So this one is optional automatically. I'm matching this one as the first line being password. That is the convention that pass is following, and the rest, if exists, I'm going to do some stuff. And then I am creating entry, right? I am setting the name to the name, password to this password, folder to this folder, and set the rest to none, right? And this is because I'm going to use it inside the fold left function, and this is my initial state of the accumulator, right? And then I have this here that I'm passing together with the rest if they exist. If it's empty, this clause is not going to be executed and it's going to return this, right? And then function accumulator line, I'm getting the key value, basically this function. I'm invoking that. I'm passing in the line, and as accumulator here, I'm passing my notes. So what it does is basically, let's see, get. Oh no, I'm not passing anything to it. I'm matching on two things. The first one is the result of the key value. The second one is my notes, right? Because there is a state that this note is none, and there is another one that it has some text, so I want to append text with a new line, right? And these two sections are here. Basically what I'm saying is, if this function is returning some values, I do this stuff, right? It's returning some values. If not, I am just skipping that and consider the line to be a note and handling that note section. Yeah, and then I have these cases where I say, for example, if the key, the result of this function has the key of username, user login with anything value, then update my login field. If I have URL, then update URL, OTP auth, take the whole line, forget about the value, because for OTP IOS, the split doesn't work. The key value logic doesn't work. But yeah, take the whole line, consider that OTP IOS, or when it's TOTP, again, update the TOTP. That's basically it. It sounds very easy to read, but to be honest, it took me some time to figure these details out. And this parse entry list is not needed anymore. This is something I developed and realized is unnecessary. But I had a problem. I think I'm not sure I have enough time to actually start the OJSON today, but it might be the case that I develop that tomorrow and present it in the next stream, because I'm not going to do streaming tomorrow. But let's solve at least one problem today, and that's this parse, which I want to actually show the content. How should I do this? Because this string of entry is already okay. Let's do it like this. Can I do fmt and then match fmt with if some fmt It's a little bit lousy because it's not just the format we need, but also the fields. No, I don't want it like this. Do I want to actually? Let's do it like this. Let's consider this one an optional again. I was thinking to not do this and basically print everything like the way the tutorial is suggesting, right? What it's suggesting here is to print password in this format and stuff like this. But is it even necessary? Because if I want this, I can do the pass show, right? But also implementing it won't be much fun. It's just printing all the fields in the string format, and for password we are going to put some stars there. But this is the first time I'm doing an optional value. I want to see the syntax. I remember some of it. I'm not sure how to invoke it. So if it's none, do this, and some fmt do printf sprintf fmt folder entry name plugin URL, and then what is it saying? The optional argument cannot be erased. Oh, I think I know this. So remove this. Move it here. Yeah, this is part of the syntax in OCaml. If we put it here, the compiler doesn't know where the optional values are stopping, and it can invoke the function. So you either need to get a unit, basically open close parentheses like this, or order it like this. So this is mainly the convention, and then over here, I'm going to pass I need to have a tilde here, right? It might be that this, let's see, user. I am going to copy this, put it here, make sure it's compiling. Nice, it's compiling. Then why is the error? EGLOT probably didn't update itself yet. So now I have folder, username, login URL, folder, nice. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this one for now, because none of these functionalities are actually used in the final program that I'm going to use. Basically, the only functionality I wanted is to discover everything, sync it inside Vaultwarden, and missed printing and stuff it does. I'm happier. Yeah, that's basically it for today. It's good to be back doing these exercises. I hope you like it. See you in the next one.